Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dream with Lem, our ongoing weekly webinar series focusing on the law of attraction and how to manifest into your life the things that you really want. And I'm going to hold starting the presentation for maybe another minute or so, give people maybe a chance to get on. What I'm thinking is, as of a little bit ago, not very many people were registered. Last week we had a pretty full crowd, and I'm thinking that maybe people missed the fact that they have to register again. We started a new month with a new registration link. So, I guess I've already waited an extra minute. Excuse me. At any rate, let's jump right in and get started. I'm going to go to screen share. Here we go. I'm going to share the entire screen. Bingo. There we go. Present to everyone. We are sharing our screen, so I'm going to assume that you can see my screen. I'm going to come up with the PowerPoint. And as I promised last week, I'm not going to do any review. I promised that we would pick up right where we left off and keep right on going, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump straight in to the faces of intention. I'm going to remind you that almost all of the material that I'm presenting today comes directly from Wayne Dyer's Power of Intention. If you want to dig deeper into it, there are a couple of videos out on YouTube that were part of the PBS special, and of course there's Wayne's book. So let's just start. There are 7 faces of intention, and again, in Wayne Dyer's presentation he uses the word source. Intention really means source in this context. We have learned in the last couple of weeks that we were intended here, that there is no source in the universe for material. Nothing can create a particle except source, God, intention, infinite energy, universal energy, call it whatever you want. Everything comes from God. And God intends everything to be here. So the first face of intention, what does it look like? The first face of intention is creation. It is my intention to live my life on purpose. We talk about people not dying, actually, we talk about people dying with their music still in them. So many people go to their grave with their music still in them. When you are inspired, you are creating. Inspired, the word in spirit and inspired are synonymous. And how do you get inspired? You connect to source. You connect to God. We all came here with a mission. We have a reason. We have a purpose. And unfortunately, many people bury their purpose. Their purpose gets buried with their ego. They disconnect from source. And that's what this is all about. People disconnect from source. They think they can do it on their own. They think they don't need help. They think that, hey, I got this. Hey, I saw you on Sunday. I'll see you next Sunday, but in between, I'll take care of it. You know, you can relax, God. I'll take the week off. Doesn't work that way. You came with a purpose. And when we can clear out all of the cobwebs, clear out all the things that cause us to be disconnected from source, we can get in touch with what our purpose is, and we can become inspired, and we can play our music. So what is the music that's in you that's waiting to be played? What is the thing that you've been thinking about doing, and we're going to talk about that more in a minute, that you haven't done? Are you thinking about writing a book? Are you thinking about writing a symphony? Are you thinking about starting a group? Are you thinking about helping people? Are you thinking about charitable organizations? What is it that you're thinking about that you don't take action on because you're afraid, because you think somebody might not like what you're doing? You think that you're not good enough. You think you're too old, you're too young, you're too big, you're too small, you're too whatever. These negative thoughts, these fears that are holding you back are the things that are keeping you from keeping you from connecting to source and doing the things that you want to do. And remember, earlier in the presentation, we learned that the physical body, came from nowhere. There is no source in the universe that we can find for the physical body. We came from nowhere. You're now here. Those are the same letters, just slightly rearranged. And when you leave, you're going back to nowhere. The physical body does not have a material source that we can find in the universe. And so the question then is, if you're here, it's a very temporary thing. We all know that. Your physical body is here for a very short time as we think about time. And what can you do with it? The only thing you can do with it is give it away. Give it away. And what does that mean? It means serve. It means help. It means become inspired and do the thing that you came here to do. It means transcend those material earthly bonds. Get rid of the fears. Connect to source. Become inspired and do the mission that you came to do. I hope that makes sense. The second face of intention, kindness. Source, God, is a kind, loving being. And you can make a decision to be at peace with everyone and everything, including your relatives. And while this brings a chuckle in Wayne's audiences, it's true, because sometimes, many times in life, the most strained relationships we have are with the people that we're closest to, our relatives. And you can make a decision that you are going to be kindness. You're going to be the personification of kindness. When people, your relatives, your friends, or maybe somebody you don't even know is causing you concern, let's just use the word concern for a moment, give them a silent blessing. Love them anyhow. Give them a smile. When you get upset by other people in your life, you are letting yourself slip away from source. Anytime you have an unkind thought, you are moving away from source and you're taking on ego consciousness. How about a beggar on the street? Many of us have a negative reaction to a beggar approaching us asking for money. That beggar is another human being. In the eyes of God, that beggar is a beautiful person. Can we at least give them a silent blessing? Can we give them a smile? Can we learn to live our life without having any negative reaction to other people? It's a tough order, but that's what God would want us to do. That's what God would expect from us. He would expect us to be at peace, to give love, and to be kind to our fellow human beings, all of them, every one of them. I want to talk a little bit about serotonin. Serotonin is a drug. It's an antidepressant, and it's stimulated by kindness. There's an interesting thing about serotonin, the feel-good drug. The person who receives an act of kindness has an increase in their serotonin. By the way, serotonin also strengthens your immune system. The receiver of an act of kindness feels good. They have an increase in their feel-good hormones. The provider of an act of kindness, you have an increase in your feel-good hormones, your serotonin. And interestingly enough, someone who simply observes an act of kindness also has a similar increase in their serotonin. So whenever an act of kindness is performed, everyone feels good. Everyone has a stimulation of their antidepressant hormones, and everyone has their immune system strengthened. It's far cheaper than going to the doctor and getting drugs. So perform random acts of kindness. That's the message. Treat everyone with kindness, even if they're yelling at you. And we'll talk about that in a moment. The third face of intention, love. God is an all-loving. He or she created everything in the universe. And as we saw last night in the Torah, in the Old Testament, everything God created was good. God is all-loving, all-caring. So make it your intention to respect yourself at all times. Remember, if you're a creation of God, then you are good. You are perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. You were created by a being, an entity that loves you and doesn't make mistakes. Even if things seem a little off tilt right now, the sun's always shining behind the clouds. You can always find a reason to love yourself, to love your neighbor, and to be kind. If you don't love yourself, you are not trusting in the wisdom of the source that created you. You are disconnecting from God. You are disconnecting from source. You are disconnecting from your creator. You are saying, I don't trust you because I don't love me. How can you do that? Because after all, you were created by a being that doesn't make mistakes. And if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anyone else. You can't give away what you don't have. Consider this. Consider why so many relationships, personal relationships, marriages, have difficulty. One of the reasons I would suggest is that the people involved don't love themselves. They're not in a position to actually be in a loving relationship. They don't know how to love. They can't give love away because they don't have love to give. You have to get in touch with your creator, and you have to learn to love yourself in order to give love away. One of the examples that's often used by Wayne actually is when you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. Well, why is that? I mean, you don't expect to squeeze an orange and get apple juice, right? An orange is an orange is an orange. So here's the question. What do you get when you squeeze you? What do you get when someone puts pressure on you? Do you react to pressure with love and kindness? Or do you react to pressure with fear, anxiety, hostility, and anger? Think about it. If someone puts pressure on you, what comes out? And if what comes out is anger, hostility, negative reactions, negative emotions, then maybe you have to take a look at what's inside, what you're made of. So the message is spend your life in cooperation rather than competition. Cooperate with people, cooperate with the universe. See yourself as love in action. Whenever you judge someone else, you don't make them what you're calling them. You just make yourself someone who needs to judge. So if you call somebody else stupid, that doesn't make them stupid. That makes you a person who needs to apply labels and judge other people. And similarly, if someone calls you a name, they call you ugly, they call you stupid, anything, you have to rise above that. And that's really hard to do. It's hard to do sometimes. But the reality is they don't make you what they called you. They make themselves a person who needs to judge. And you, if you want to rise to a higher level, if you want to live at a higher level of consciousness, if you want to follow all these teachings that we're talking about, you have to rise above it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But remember, I am whole and I am perfect as I was created. Say that to yourself. Look in the mirror. Say that to yourself. I am whole. I am perfect as I was created. And true nobility, according to Wayne, is being better than you used to be. So our mission in life is to continue to improve every day, to be better today than we were yesterday, to grow. The fourth face of intention, beauty. Everything that Source or God created is beautiful. Every beauty resembles the celestial source from which we all come. And as you reach for your higher self, you will begin to see more beauty in everything. John Keats, a very famous poet who actually died at a very young age, but wrote one of the very famous poems, Ode on a Grecian Urn. The last stanza of Ode on a Grecian Urn is beauty is truth, truth beauty. And that is all you know on earth and all you need to know. Your natural state is beauty, joy, tranquility. Look at a baby who's just been born. Does a baby come out of the womb with hostility and anger? Or does it come out of the womb with beauty and joy and tranquility? Have you ever looked at a baby and said, well, look at that. That's ugly. Wow, that's a mean baby. No. We look at babies and we say, whoa, that's cute. What a cute little baby. Isn't she adorable? Isn't she beautiful? Look at all the joy. Look at all the happiness. I mean, that's your natural state. That's the way you were born. And many of us have drifted away from that state because we've been beaten into lower levels of consciousness by the society that we live in, and we have to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. Say to yourself, I only attract beauty. And take the path of least resistance. And what does that mean? That means connect to Source. Anytime you feel a negative emotion, fear, hostility, anger, you are putting resistance between yourself and Source. That is breaking your connection. That is making yourself, taking yourself to a lower plane of existence, to a lower level of consciousness. So, anger, resentment, hostility are low energy, and they always weaken you. Rumi was a famous poet, said, sell your cleverness and purchase bewilderment. And what he meant by that is your cleverness is your ego. Boy, I'm really clever. I know how to do that. No, get rid of it. And purchase bewilderment. Just look at the universe and be bewildered, be astounded by the beauty, by the universe around you. In Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, I think many of you know or are familiar with the book. Viktor Frankl was actually a psychologist who was captured by the Germans and taken to a concentration camp during World War II. He was part of the Holocaust. And he made it his mission to survive the Holocaust so that he could tell his story. So he identified a purpose in his life, and his purpose was to survive. And in order to do that, he found beauty in everything. And he lived the mission, the life that we're talking about. He did not feel any anger or hostility toward his captors. When he was fed a bowl of water with a floating fish head in it for food, and that was his food for the day, he found beauty in it. And he imagined the outcome. And the word immensely, imagine the outcome, is sitting there for a reason. It is to focus completely and totally on what you want to accomplish. This is the message of all of all of what we've been doing for the last several weeks, is to focus totally and completely on the outcome, the result that you want. And he focused totally and completely on getting out of the concentration camp and sharing his story with the world. He found peace, love, beauty in everything that happened to him. Now, his story is an amazing story, and he was an amazing man for what he accomplished. I'm not sure that I'm certain that I'm not good enough at this point in my life yet to have gone through what he went through with and the way he went through it. But nevertheless, that's the ideal. The fifth phase of intention, expansiveness. Don't you sit on the couch and wonder what else there could be? Don't we all always have this urge to do more, be more, have more? But we suppress it. We sit on it. We let our little fears get in the way. Am I good enough? Can I do it? Buckminster Fuley said, everyone is born a genius, but the process of living de-geniuses you. And why is that? And the reason is, we let all these fears and limitations in. Source is an expanding source. It's always growing. And we, as part of Source, as our infinite, the piece of us that's infinite, wants to grow. It wants to be more. And we suppress it. Imagination is far more important than knowledge, it's been said. Can you imagine what you could do if you could remove the shackles, if you took off the chains, if you connected the source, if you didn't have any of the concerns of living at lower levels of consciousness, if you knew that you were good enough, that you were perfect, that you were everything that you needed to be, that you could have anything you want, if you really believed that, what would you do? What would you make out of your life? So learn to think, feel, and sound like Source. Don't let life de-genius you. You came from a source of perfection. And you can reconnect to that source. And you can become, do, be anything you want. We just have to get rid of the shackles of our ego and our society that has pounded into us. But that's not for us. That's for them guys down the street. We don't do things like that. We're not whatever. We got to get rid of all of that. So one of the most important things you can do is align with the spiritual energy that is the genius that's in you. And look for the genius in others. See it in everything they do. Remind them of it. Encourage them. Diane Hockman told us to be a human backhoe and lift people up. Look for the genius in everyone, because everyone has genius in them somewhere. Remind them of it. Tell them how good they are. Tell them how you appreciate them. Tell them how much you care about them. You love them. Lift them up. Help them find their genius. And once again, remember, you came from a source of perfection. So don't let life de-genius you. The sixth phase of attention, abundance. Source does not understand lack. You cannot go to Source with lack. If you go with, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough, whatever. If you go with lack, you're going to get more lack. Source doesn't understand lack. It only understands abundance. If you come to Source with a feeling that you cannot attract abundance, Source is going to fulfill that belief, and you will continue to not attract abundance because that's what you came with. So, once again, we've heard this so many times. We have to focus on the result that we want. We have to focus on the thing that we want to have. We have to focus on the belief that we're good enough, that we can have anything we want. And we have to go to Source with the gratitude for the things we have, the appreciation for the things we have. We have to thank God for what we have. And then we'll get more. Source only understands abundance. It doesn't understand lack. It can't create lack. It doesn't know how to do that. God doesn't know how to create lack. God only knows how to create more abundance. So again, the real secret to manifestation of anything and everything you want in your life is to come with gratitude and thankfulness for all you already have. And as I have said oftentimes, many of us tend to think that we don't have enough. We think we're poor. We think we're lacking. And I point out to you, once again, at the risk of repeating myself, can you walk to your kitchen sink and turn on your water? You don't have to walk 5 miles a day with a 5-gallon bucket of water on your head, a 5-gallon bucket of dirty water. Do you have a toilet? Does it work? What about food in your refrigerator? You got a house over your head, a car in the garage, are there bombs falling on top of you? Do you have to go to work during the day dodging gunfire? If you don't have to do any of those things, you have incredible abundance. Incredible. Each and every one of us has incredible abundance. We have a lot to be thankful for. And if we can go to Source, go to God, being thankful for what we have, we can get more. But we have to get rid of all of the feelings of lack. We have to get rid of them. As long as we have feelings of lack, that's making the connection to Source rusty, as we said 3 weeks ago. That's corroding the connection to Source. So if you see a penny on the street, pick it up, hold it up, and thank God for the symbol of abundance that's flowing into your life. Yes, it's a lowly penny. No, it's a symbol of abundance. Thank you, God, for this symbol of abundance. I used to think that I was too good to pick up a penny. I didn't need a penny. I was better than that. Horsepucky. Now I pick up every penny I see, and I hold the penny up, and I look at heaven, and I say thank you for this symbol of abundance. You can do that too. Be thankful for everything you have, and you can get more. Receptivity, the seventh and final phase of intention. Receptivity. It is my intention to attract ideal people and ideal circumstances into my life. Let go and let God. Remember, we said 2 weeks ago that go and God are synonymous. We said that good and God are synonymous. Good and God. If we chase things like chase money, we push it away from us. It's like chasing a butterfly. It's elusive. But if we let go, if we trust in Source, if we trust in God, if we trust that what we have or what we need or want will come to us, if we trust in the abundance of the universe, we can have anything we want. You have a senior partner. If you knew who walked beside you on this path you have chosen, you would never feel fear or doubt. So be receptive to everyone. And remember, Source, God, is an equal opportunity provider. Source doesn't provide to someone and not to someone else. You have to be receptive. And you have to believe that you can have, be, and do anything you want, but you also have to be thankful for what you have. And as you learn to connect to Source, you will positively impact lots of other people in your life. You'll find that people are calmer around you. You'll find that people feel good being in a room with you. And you'll find that low energy people cannot bring you down. If angry people make you angry, if low energy people bring you down, then your connection to source is still rusty. And one of the things that you can learn to do is just let angry people vent. Um, and I'm going to give you an example, and I know it's the top of the hour. We're just a few more minutes here, but I'm going to give you an example of one thing. I can give you many, but I'll give you one of things that stick out in my life. It was Thanksgiving evening, the day before Thanksgiving Eve, in the year of something or something. I don't know what year it was. Doesn't matter. Not relevant. I was at JFK Airport, and I had a flight to San Francisco, and I wanted to be home for Thanksgiving. Busiest travel day of the year. Got to the airport late. It was storming in New York. Traffic was ugly. The airports were jammed. I got to the ticket counter. The lady at the ticket counter looked at me and she said, "We don't have a seat for you on this plane." She said, "We're oversold." Now, there was a man next to me at the ticket counter who was screaming at the top of his lungs, literally yelling. The whole airport could hear him. How can you folks run an airport like this? Blah, blah, blah. I want a supervisor. Blah, blah, blah. You get me on this flight. I have a ticket. Blah, blah, blah. I have it confirmed. Blah, blah, blah. Screaming at the top of his lungs. Within the next several minutes, I walked onto the airplane. He was still standing there screaming at the top of his lungs, yelling that he wanted a supervisor. He may still be there waiting for a supervisor. I don't know. He got what he asked for. He got to talk to a supervisor. I just smiled at the woman behind the counter and said, "Gee, do the best you can do, will you please? I'd really I'd really appreciate it if I can get on this flight." He was ahead of me. There's a lesson there. As you learn to connect to source, you can have an impact on all of humanity. You look at global peace going viral, for example. And I am now more convinced than ever of the next statement. Everything is connected to everything else. Every little thing that we do impacts all of humanity. It impacts the planet. It impacts everything. And each and every one of us carry within us the ability to make the planet a better place for each and every one of us. So let me close this with reading. I'll actually let you do most of the reading. We'll do this very quickly. The Dyer Dozen for connecting to intention, connecting to source. Want more for others than you want for yourself. Pretty simple. Think from the end. See yourself surrounded by the events and people you desire. And this is critical. If you want to manifest something into your life, you have to see yourself surrounded by, connected to, involved with the people, the things, the events that you desire. You can't go with lack. You have to go with abundance. And abundance means see yourself, for example, if it's money, then see yourself surrounded by money. See yourself immersed in it. See it in your bank account. See it there. Get rid of the notion that you don't have enough, because you do. You already have enough. And if you can be thankful for what you have, you'll get more. Be an appreciator. Look for what is valuable. Look at the value in everything around you. Stay in rapport with source energy. Every unkind thought, fear, depression, etc. is all resistance. And by the way, if you believe that what we've been doing for the last several weeks is a bunch of nonsense, you're right. It's a bunch of nonsense. But if you believe it's real, you're right. If you believe it will work for you, you're right. If you believe it won't work for you, you're right. Either way, you're right. Contemplate yourself, again, surrounded by the conditions you want to produce. Understand the art of allowing. Take the path of least resistance. Allow. Remember, everything you want already exists. You have to allow it to come to you. And remember, we have Susan Shearer Young's awesome book on how to allow. Practice radical humility. Remember, you are not your body, your mind, your possessions. You are a divine being. Get your ego out of the way. Be in a state of gratitude. Grateful for everything you already have. We've said that. And remember, you can never resolve a problem by condemning it. You can't shame your way to source energy. And what we really mean by that is condemning other people, other things, throwing blame, throwing shame, etc. It just doesn't work. The fastest way to disconnect from source energy is to throw shame and blame at other people, and to throw hostility and to call them names and tell them they're stupid or whatever. Play the match game. Am I matched up with the field of intention? And finally, meditate. Your way of staying connected to source. You cannot divide God. The only thing in the universe that is indivisible, is silence. Silence is the language of God. Meditation is the method to connect. It's how to quiet your mind and get rid of those 60,000 odd thoughts that are pulmoning you every day, all the time, and listen. Listen. I don't believe God has vocal cords. You've got to listen with your mind for the communication from the universe. Happiness doesn't depend on how things are arranged. It depends on how you arrange your mind. Remember the story last week of the 92-year-old woman checking into I said a nursery last week. Nobody corrected me. Nursing home. And she was told what the curtains on the windows in the room looked like. And she said, "Oh, I love it." She hadn't even been to the room yet. Furthermore, she was blind. And so the person who was telling her that said, "Well, how can you say you love it? You haven't even been to the room." And the woman said, "My happiness doesn't depend on the arrangement of the furniture in my room. It depends on the arrangement of my mind." And so when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's your call. I'm back. We picked up a few people. Hello, Christy. Hello, Christy. Hello, Bill. Hello, Larry. That's it. We finally got through the power of intention. Took us 3 sessions. I hope you got value out of this today. If you got value, I would suggest you go find the Wayne Dyer presentations and watch them. You can't watch them enough times. You simply cannot. Now, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you don't have to have any more Saturday morning at 8:30 webinars. The bad news is that you don't have to have any more Saturday at 8:30 webinars. Next Saturday, I will be out on the Colorado River water skiing, and where we go skiing on the river, there is no internet, zero, none, nada, can't get it. It's not there. So I won't be doing a show next Saturday. And I think all of you know that we're about to start a pretty intense coaching program this week. I'm going to commit myself 120% to the coaching program for the next 12 weeks. And I'm therefore going to back out of doing things that aren't part of the coaching program, that don't have to be done. And this is one of them. So this webinar takes a lot of time to prepare. And I'm simply going to put it on the back burner for now. There are some more topics that I wanted to cover. Maybe we'll pick it up again in 3 months, who knows. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for attending. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Please have a wonderful weekend. And remember, on Tuesday, your request is your command, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. Somebody on Lunch with Len last week said, "Can we get Angel Belichowski?" I said I thought she was too busy. I contacted Angel, and she jumped right on, and she said, "I can be there Tuesday." And so we got Angel on Tuesday on Lunch with Len, and I am just more than excited. Please pack the house. Let's pack the house for Angel. Bring your friends, your relatives, your mother, your father, your aunts, your uncles. Bring everybody, and let's give Angel a rousing welcome. We all love her. I know we all do. So have a great weekend. See you on Tuesday for Lunch with Len. And unless anybody has any questions, thanks for all your comments, Christy. I just love you to death, my friend. Is Chris here? Excuse me, is Chris here? Chris, where are you? You're the one that told me you really wanted to be here. Silly Chris. All right, I'm going to have a chat with her. All right, that's it. I'm going to hang it up. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now. Oh, let's see. No, we'll see you on Sunday night. We'll see you Sunday night at the gathering. We got that tomorrow night. Sorry. Sunday night at the gathering tomorrow night with Jackson and Christy. And then Tuesday, lunch with Len. So we'll see you. Bye for now.